All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of GAR Capital. It is Friday, March 31st, end of the quarter, end of the month, March 31st, 2023. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we begin, again, I'm just going to ask, just hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. Really would appreciate it if you like these videos to share them. Any of your friends who would like to subscribe, let's get to 10,000 as soon as we can. That's what I'm trying to get anyways. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Dow futures up 146 points, NASDAQ up 0.11% this morning. S&P 500 got very close to 4,100, but not quite there just yet. We'll go ahead and chart all of these for you. Russell 2000 futures 1790 up 0.56%, crude oil up 0.66%, 74.85 a barrel. Gasoline futures down about 0.53%, $2.62 a gallon. 3.532 on the 10-year yield. Again, yields are down because of the PCE number. We'll go over that number together. I went ahead and posted on Instagram again if you are interested. That was helping futures this morning. 102.35 for the dollar index, up 0.21%. The VIX below 19, down 0.26%. We're starting to get to really support on the VIX, so we'll keep an eye on it. Gold futures 1995, really close to 2,000. Keep that level in mind. 24.08 for silver futures, up 0.38%. The euro dollar 108.85, down about 20 pips. 133.14 for the dollar yen. Interesting that the dollar yen is up, yet yields are down. It's usually when the yen is down. Yen is up. Pound dollar flat, 123.88. Bitcoin still hovering around 28,000. Ethereum at 1823. That's up this morning. Okay, so we did get a nice break above that 40.60 support. Puts were basically trash, nothing we could do, but we're going to see if we can make up for it. So yesterday I was tweeting about this kind of chop resistance zone right above 40.80, 40.60 to 40.80. We got above that. We are now right on that trend line of where we are here on S&P 500 futures on the 4-hour. What we're looking for is a break of 4,100. Your immediate support is 40.60. If you are seeing a support level of 40.60 hold up, that might give you an opportunity to go long, if not buy. So again, you can't fight the tape here. Again, you could see that we're just getting the momentum higher. NASDAQ not even leading the way this week. It's really small caps, IWM. So the banks making it back a little bit. So again, what we want to do is get above 4,100. That was the end of the month January highs. And again, if we can break that, then we can get back into this zone here back in February. Let's go to the VIX. Volatility index now at 1896. Really, in terms of what you're looking for as support, right when you start breaking below 19, it starts getting really interesting. So again, not a lot of really technical analysis to really do on the VIX here, but you could see it here really just holding on to support right around like 18.5. That's when you're probably looking for a little bit of insurance. Again, maybe everyone just gets a little too bullish. We'll get some kind of pullback. I was expecting that pullback this week, at least initially, and we didn't get that. We got it on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we soared overnight, and then Thursday we soared overnight, and then today we're soaring overnight. Well, we're up overnight. So again, bulk of these moves in terms of the stock market has been during futures, not really through the actual session. So again, looking at this, QQQ is starting to move. If you break above 317 or 318, 320 was probably going to come next, or 322. We talked about that yesterday. Let's go and take a look at the daily. Again, my thing was that, hey, if we break out, then I'll play calls, no problem. And again, we talked about this cup and handle pattern. See the handle here, and now we're starting to jump higher. You know, keep an eye here. Does it mean that we can't pull back just for a little bit, retest that support of 310? That's where I'm looking for to add to some risk, if anything, to play the trades here. But again, the gap to fill in Qs is right around 308.75. So again, maybe you get a little rejection towards the end of the month. April tends to be very bullish. So again, maybe we get a little bit of a pullback today. If we do, 310 is your support. If not, that 308.22 gap fill on Qs, you could see it here right at 308.25. Again, still around that yellow line that we drew. That was that resistance that we kept tapping. Double tapped, a double top, we broke out of it. double top, we broke out of it, but then we pulled back. So this can definitely happen as well. 323, if you get above 318 or so, 323 would be a good level. Good morning, Olivia. Thank you for joining me this morning. That's where we're on Qs. Taking a look at Apple. Remember, I had Apple puts. I went ahead and switched it and got to calls, and you could see why. Just a clean breakout above 160. That was the level I was looking for. I was expecting us to reject that and then test here. We didn't get that. Really, your next level is 164.62. That's your daily trend line that we've been rejecting since 2022. Very similar to the S&P 500 trend line that we finally broke out of. Take a look at Microsoft here. Microsoft trading at 284.05. Remember, we talked about this gap fill here at 285.50. Only reason I don't want to go long there is that if we do fill that gap, we may reject. So again, let's go ahead and see if Microsoft actually fills this 28.50, 285.50 gap, and then we'll go from there. Let's go to Meta. Yeah, we're going to take a look at Meta. Jack definitely read my mind. Hope is all well. Can we take a look at Meta this morning? I'm in the 4-6 calls. What's your strike here on Meta? So let's take a look, because I'm in Meta too. So let's go ahead and make sure and see. I think he's talking about the actual signal possibly. Let's take a look at the hourly. Again, we're in the upper band of this chart here. Again, pretty bullish, obviously. Let's go to the 4-hour chart, see if you can give us a little more color. And of course, this takes forever to load. The worst. 215s. Okay, you're just like me on that end. So we're about, if we can get this to load, that'd be great. Technical difficulties are always fun. Let's go to the 4-hour. We're just going to wait for the data. I don't know what's going on with TD Ameritrade. Maybe we're having issues with TD. But no real data coming up. My apologies, man. Let me see if I can get this to the hourly. Okay, well, we have the hourly chart. Maybe if I just do Meta here, maybe it'll load. Either that or we're just having some issues with TD Ameritrade, and I think that's what it is. Right now, I'm pretty much stuck. On the hourly, we are getting a move. Right, Friday, he wants the morning off. I mean, we're still getting quotes, but the data is a little slow, and this is the first time this has ever happened to me on TOS. TOS has actually been pretty good. Let's take a look. Again, my charts are having issues, guys. My apologies. You can see now, I can go with the hourly. Here we go. Hey, we did it. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. Remember, guys, on the daily, on the daily on Meta, we do have a gap to fill too, right here at 153.56. Again, I'm not saying we're going to get that today, but again, that needs to be in the back of your mind. We are breaking out here. Again, the target really is right around 223 to 220. That's what we're looking for on the daily. And again, we're above major moving averages. The 20-day regarding momentum, the 50-day, the 100-day, the 200-day. The 100-day is about to slice above the 200-day, so that's a pretty bullish sentiment. Also, Meta golden crossed. We talked about that months ago with Apple and the S&P and the NASDAQ. Again, when the 50 is above the 200. If we go to the 4-hour chart, you can see that, again, it's very similar to the hourly chart. So again, the best bet is to go by the daily. And the only reason we went to the 215 level is because we wanted to get out of the money to catch that momentum, possibly today as we round out the quarter. And there's also something I wanted to show here. Take a look at this, guys. This is the S&P 500 returns for March and April, when the prior was negative, 2022, and the first 5 days of the year were up 1.4%. So April gains on average, March and April, the first 5 days, 7% on the S&P, 100% of the time. That's every time that's happened. Again, April's gains are usually bigger than March gains. So full year return since 1950 is 25%. Lowest annual return was 13%. So again, if you had the year before being red and the first 5 days of the year, meaning January trading days, they were green, then you're going to get a nice first 5 days of April. So next week is to be very bullish. So what we want to do, Jack, is we want to actually, in a sense, position ourselves. Yes, we got in thinking that possibly we got a little more momentum towards the end of the day. Really what I was hoping for was a gap up, a nice gap up today to catch it first thing in the morning and possibly just kind of put a nice little bow on the quarter and in the year. I'm going to go over the quarter for us and our signals after the 4:15 today. And again, I still like this setup because we are still bullish into April. Granted, next Friday, the market is closed. But again, a very bullish week is expected next week. So again, you kind of want to position yourself. Any kind of dips here, maybe if we hold 40-60 on ES, any kind of dips there are probably to be bought running into next week April is very strong seasonally. Now, anything could happen over the weekend, but again, that's my thesis. I was trying to catch one more dip before the quarter ended and we got into the April strong season. We didn't get that. At least I tried to get the puts. We were very, very close on two of them. Bank of America just never retested or filled that gap. But again, I'm going to go over each trade, what we did, what was the mentality of going through it, what happened, and the results together today, later today at 4:15 when we go over the month and we go over the quarter on our signals for our members. But in terms of Meta, right now we're about $6 away, and there's a good reason why that is. The further out of the money, again, the more demand and momentum we get as the stock rises. So again, Meta, Apple, all these stocks, Qs, tech is breaking out. It's not going to last forever. You're not going to get a straight shot to 20,000. That's not happening. But again, position yourself in a seasonally strong April. The first 5 days of April are strong, so I expect next week to be very strong in terms of the market. Keep an eye on possibly Tesla, one above 199.62. Meta was a freebie on Instagram. We also posted that. But again, Tesla kind of setting up very similar to that cup and handle formation on Qs. Meta, Apple, Microsoft, we have a gap to fill. Google actually underperformed yesterday. So this red line here was, let's see here, the daily. Kind of support here on on Google, but not performing the best. So again, I would skip Alphabet moving forward in terms of calls. There's other stuff to play. You also have a gap to fill on Amazon. You have the 200-day moving average on Amazon. If you get a little bit more of a push, maybe you get above 105, we can play the 107.50s or 108s to target that 200-day on Amazon, which sucks because I had puts on Amazon this week. But listen, tech is very resilient. What can we do? Let's see, what's up with the dollar? How's the recession looking? Depending on what your perspective is on the dollar. If the dollar goes lower, that does mean that there is at least the fear of recession is not as high. But again, a weaker dollar is inflationary. So we just had our GDP number yesterday. I think it was 2.6% GDP. And when you're at a 3.4% unemployment, you really don't have a recession there. Could we have one towards the tail end of the year? Yeah, if we get a redo of 2008 or something like that, sure. But at least in terms of the market, in terms of economics currently, there really isn't any barometer to show that a recession is coming. We just had one last year, technically. So to have back-to-back recessions is pretty rare. So I wouldn't hold my breath on it. But again, things can change very, very quickly. Bank headlines and bank runs. But the Fed is just going to print our way into oblivion. We said that when they expand the balance sheet, stocks go higher. This is what you get. Granted, they did trim the balance sheet a little bit, was reported yesterday, but again, still in expensive mode, at least the last time we had the banks issue. Entry for contracts at 131 currently up. Very nice. What's your entry price on percentage on Meta calls? Oh, he's asking him what you guys are doing except for the videos. Yeah, and Trevor, listen, why don't you check out the video later today? We're going to do it at 4:15. I'm going to go over the quarter in terms of signals, and I'm going to go over the trades for this week, and then you'll kind of see exactly how we do things. So again, even if you don't want to join, at least you kind of see the behind the scenes on how it works in terms of market. We're getting a little bit of a push here on Meta, getting a little bit of a push here on NASDAQ and Apple. So really what the thesis is here, guys, is 4060 ES. As long as that holds up, you're pretty much buying any dip at least until the end of next week or April, because those first 5 days are very strong. And April is a very strong month in terms of seasonality. So let me see if I can bring this up here. I know I have it here. I know I had this set up here in terms of the document that shows the seasonality. Let's go ahead and do it. Here we go. So here's the pre-election seasonality. Remember, we talked about the year before an election year for presidential election is next year, 2024. And you can see how March, pretty solid, but look at April. April is very, very strong. But May gets a little choppy. The saying goes, sell in May and go away. You just get a little bit of a pullback in sentiment. June continues stronger. Again, this is just based on the seasonality on a pre-election year. Again, watch your seasonality. April tends to be very strong. So again, if anything, you're looking to buy dips short term in terms of options. In terms of stocks, I mean, you're really just stuck in a big range on the NASDAQ and still stuck in a big range on S&P. So, I mean, would I want to chase an NVIDIA or AMD here? No. Would I want to chase a Meta here? Not really. Again, all we're looking for is the actual direction of the market to show us that, hey, the worst is over and we're not in this chop anymore. What does that number mean? 4,200 S&P or around 4,250 S&P would confirm it. And then you'll just probably get back to the August highs. Look at this, guys. We've just been in chop. I mean, great to trade in, but not to invest in, at least short term, or at least near term. If you're a long-term investor and you're just accumulating stocks, you're doing great. You have a 401k, you're doing great this year, especially if you have the index fund, the S&P 500. But again, if you are looking to like kind of buy something this year and get out this year, kind of a swing stock setup, there really hasn't been much. So in terms of at least the market barometer. But again, you have semiconductors that have outperformed. There's some consumer discretionary that has done well. But again, we still need we need the market to prove that we're out of this little funk here in terms of the S&P 500. Get us above 4,200, and then we can start talking. But at least for now, we're starting to get that leg up. We're getting ready for April. The first 5 days of April are very strong. Don't be surprised we get to 4150, 4175, and then we get a little bit of a pullback. Maybe we retest 4100. That's going to be our opportunity to play both sides of this trade. So we'll just wait and see as we go. I've been watching since 2021. Appreciate what you do. Not trying to pay for groups anymore. Had a bad time with that. We still got to play GTA together. Yes. Well, I haven't played GTA in a while. Really, the only game I've been playing, at least somewhat, has been F1 2022. Last year's Formula 1 game. It's a great game. But yeah, the idea is to do this video to kind of help individuals, not trying to make too much, noise in terms of headlines. That's not the idea, like just scare tactics. We want to be as consistent as possible, be informative as possible, and tell you the real stuff. I mean, I don't want to just put my face on a picture on YouTube and say the world's ending. That may get clicks, but that's not going to help you. I don't want to scare you guys to want to join. I want you guys to be excited for the opportunities in the future because, hey, the stock market will always be here. And again, you don't have to join tomorrow. You don't have to join today. Again, but the idea is to learn the skills, learn the behind the scenes, what we're looking at, and then you kind of mix it up with your stuff and you work it out with your plan or your trading plan, or maybe this is something that's just a hobby. Again, we're going to be here every day, explain the market in a non-biased way, at least as non-biased as possible. We're not exactly beholden to a corporate company like a Citibank or a Goldman Sachs. It's independently owned. So again, we get to say things that we see in the market without any kind of bias, only from what we see in our perspective. And I think that's important, at least in terms of reporting and explaining things that, we don't have this bias. Again, I'll tell you what positions I open all the time when we talk about it. And again, what we want to do, at least in this YouTube video, is really just be a way to show and explain. And then you decide what you think is best or how you want to use that information, because everyone's different. Maybe to some, this is a completely bearish setup. To some, this is a completely bullish setup. Everyone is different. Again, we're just here explaining and reporting what we see, and we go from there. That's really it. 331, 403 puts, hoping for a pullback to hit those this morning. Ugh, SPY, tough. Let's see it. 403 puts, huh? Let's see it. You're at 403, 405.15, so you're a little up. You would need a nice little meltdown. Good news is that at least on SPY, you're getting close to some type of resistance at 405.65, but that's tough, Jack. You may have to just close that first thing at the open. But this is where we are, and that happens. So don't worry. The good news is that trades are like buses. One every 15 minutes, they're always coming around, so don't feel too bad. You'll bounce back as always. All right, guys, we'll go and leave it there. Have a great rest of your trading Friday. I will catch you guys at 4:15 for our recap. We'll recap the quarter. We'll recap our trades. We'll recap the market and answer some of your questions. Discord members, I hope you guys join me for that video. And if you guys don't, of course, I will link it up on the Discord channel so you can see at your own leisure. Have a great rest of your day. I will catch you guys later this afternoon. Let's make it a great one. Cheers.